This country will lang mind Sir Robert Redgauntlet, who lived in these parts before the dear years. Far and wide was Sir Robert hated and feared. Men thought that he had a wrecked compact with Satan, that he was proof against steel, and that bullets happed off his buff coat like hailstones from hearth. His tenants behoved to be prompt to the rent day, or else the laird wasna pleased. Nobody dared anger him, for the rage that he used to get into made men sometimes think him a deal incarnate. Now Sir Robert owned a patch of ground they called the Primrose Knowe. It was a pleasant bit, and the air was clearer and fresher there than anywhere else in the country. There dwelt Steenie Steenson, a rambling, rattling chiel who could play well on the pipes. Steenie was a kind of favourite with his master, and was often sent for to play when they were at their merriment. Old Dougal MacCallum, the butler, was specially fond of the pipes, and I gie Steenie his good word with the laird. But Steenie hadna the saving gift, for he was fond of the brandy, and he found himself 12 months behind with his rent. Sir Robert's patience was growing thin. He paid for the first term through fair word and piping at the laird's wits and banquet, but he had sair work to gather the rest of the cellar. At last he got the hale of money scraped together, and away he trots to Redgauntlet Castle, with a heavy purse and a light heart, glad to be out of the laird's danger.
Dinna fash yourself, Steenie lad, that's just the laird's jackanie. An evil cankered beast, always acting up. Steenie, you ken the laird suffers badly from the gout. Beware him the night. He's in a foul, evil temper.
Steenie was not just at ease in his mind when the door shut on him, and he saw himself in the room with nobody but the laird, Dougal MacCallum, and the ill-favoured jackanape. Few liked the creature. They thought there was something devilish in it. Sir Robert sat uneasily in a great arm-chair, for he had both gout and gravel, and his face looked as gash and ghastly as Satan's. In the darkness there too sat the jackanape, an ill-thawed, fearsome couple they were. The great black rental book lay beside him, open at the place where it bore evidence against the good men of Primrose Knowe.
Are you come light-handed, you son of a tin whistle? Sounds of ya! Is it all here, Steenie man?
Your Honour, you'll find it right.
Dougal, take Steenie downstairs for a tass of brandy, while I count the cellar and write the receipt.
And so Steenie and Dougal turned to leave, but they weren't a wheel out of the room when Sir Robert gave a yeller. Back around, Dougal. Yell on yell, gied the laird. Steenie knew not whether to stand or flee. Terribly the laird roared for his cold water to his feet and wine to cool his throat. And hell in its flames was aye the word in his mouth. The jackanape had gibbered and cried as if it was mocking the master. Steenie's head was like to turn. He forgot both cellar and receipt, and away he banged. But as he ran, the shrieks came fainter and fainter. There was a deep, drawn, shivering groan, and word came through the castle. The laird was dead. And away came Steenie with a finger in his mouth, and his best hope was that Dougal had seen the money bag and heard the laird speak of writing the receipt. The young laird, now Sir John, came from Edinburgh to see things put to rights. Sir John and his feather never greed weel, and some even thought it was easier counting with old Sir Robert than with the steel-willed young'un. Dougal MacCallum, dear biddy, gaed about the house sairly troubled. He was aye the last to gang to his bed, in a little room opposite Sir Robert's old chamber, the night before the funeral. Dougal could keep his own counsel no longer.
Good health and a long life, dear Hutchin. Though I've nae lang myself for this world.
Whatever do you mean, Dougal?
Every night since his death, I've heard Sir Robert's silver whistle call me from his chamber, as if he were still alive. I've never dared answer it. Though death break service, it shall not break my service to Sir Robert. I will answer his next whistle. Will you storm with me, Hutchin? Aye.
Midnight came, and the house was quiet as the grave. Sure enough, the silver whistle sounded as sharp and shrill as if Sir Robert was blowing it. Hutchins saw enough at the first glance.
Dougal! The foul fiend!
Hutchins could not tell how long he stood in a trance at the door, and staring at the limp figure of his friend, he had glimpsed in the darkness what he thought to be the devil himself. On the morn, Sir John hushed the matter up, and Dougal's funeral passed over quietly. As for the whistle, it was heard mony a time at the top of the house, among the old chimneys and turrets. When all was over, and the laird was beginning to settle his affairs, every tenant called up for his rent, and Steenie for the full sum that stood against him in the rental book. Wheel away he trots to the castle to tell his story. There sat Sir John in his father's chair, deep in mourning.
Stephen Stevenson or Stevenson. You're down here for a year's rent behind the hand. Due it last term.
Please, Your Honour, Sir John, I paid that to your father.
You took a receipt then, doubtless, Stephen.
Indeed, I hadn't time in it like Your Honour, for no sooner had I set down the cellar than he was ta'en with the pains that removed him.
That was unlucky, but you maybe paid it in the presence of someone.
Troth, Sir John, there was nobody else in the room but Dougal MacCallum.
Unlucky again, Stephen. The man to whom you paid the money is dead, and the man who witnessed the payment is dead too.
Your Honour.
And the cellar, which should have been to the fore, is neither seen nor heard tell of. How am I to believe all this?
And the ken, Your Honour.
For your own sake, end this fashery, Stephen.
I am an honest man, Sir John.
So am I! If I understand your point, you mean to cheat me of this money. You insult me by insinuating that I've received this rent that I'm demanding. Do you suppose I have this money?
Far be it for me to say so, sir.
Well, do you charge any of our people who ain't taken it?
No, sir, I didn't.
Somewhere the money must be if there is a word of truth in your story. Now ask who you think it is, and demand the correct answer.
In hell. If you would have my thoughts of it, it's be in hell. Along with your father and his silver whistle.
Come back here, you cheating bastard!
A toast. The first to Sir Robert Redgauntlet. Might he never lie quiet in his grave till I am righted. Second, if he would but get me my receipt. To the devil himself,